So hello, everybody. Actually, I'm also probably like you. I'm kind of, how can I say? It was like a last moment surprise to be moderating the panel. So I'll probably go through the questions that are already at the document, and of course we'll add some things on the way, right? So our panel is navigating the new live, online and offline music experiences. We are in the middle of the pop-up festival organized by JMI. And I think it's a very interesting panel because it brings this contradiction between the core of our thing, which is making music together and live and with this interaction between the audience and the musicians. And now we are in a moment where in which it's not possible to do like that anymore. Of course, it's not that new that we have other possibilities like making lives or communicating in different ways with the audience, even though if we don't have the possibility to meet and to do it like we are used to, it's a total different context. So it's different when you have the option to go online and when it's mandatory to go online. And it's nice that we have different panelists with very different experiences. So we have Jake from Playing for Change. The organization is doing this kind of stuff for a long time now. And of course, you can give us many nice inputs about this new setting. And we have Martin from Sounds Like Van Spirit.
Hello.
A very nice project. I wonder if you don't want to come to South America when it's we are back to normality, and then we can do a South American version of your project because it's incredible.
I would love to. If this is possible, I would love to explore. Actually, I was thinking of making a scout trip to Havana soon.
Nice, very nice. And then we have Nora from Concerticus with all the experience of making concerts for kids in schools, thousands of concerts for thousands of kids in Finland. And now I wonder how challenging it is to work with kids in this new, different online world. So I'll let you introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about your projects because, of course, you do it much better than me. Then we can start talking, okay?
Sure, should I start?
Yes, please, Jake.
Okay, great. I'm Jake Rochon. I'm the Executive Director of the Playing for Change Foundation. Our primary focus is running 15 programs in 11 different countries. These are all music arts schools. But we do a lot more than that. We also provide social services. And during COVID, we're doing a lot of providing of extra food and health supplies and really trying to help these communities. The areas we work in tend to be the poorest areas in the world. And while they are very poor financially, they're very rich culturally. So we really try to expand on that music background and teaching these kids how to rise up through music and change their whole lives around it. So that's something that we've been focusing on, for these last few months, and we are continuing to look to expand and grow these programs and add more around the world. And on top of that, there are the videos created that go very viral that are going to have 1 billion views in total here in the next couple months. And there's also the PFC band, which generally tours the world. So that's kind of all the aspects of Playing for Change.
Thank you, Jake. Martin, can you go next, please?
Yeah, of course. I've been doing something similar in a way. I'm not a foundation. I'm just a one-man show in a way. And I've been traveling around the European continent for now to only record street musicians. and I was particularly looking for original songs that were composed by the street musicians to show the audience in the world that there is a lot of beauty and great musical talent right in front of their feet. They just have to start listening to it, and I kind of felt to make it my mission to show these songs to the people, and I've been recording like dozens of street artists, and I hope I can continue even in these times with this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nora?
Yeah, hi there, everybody. I'm Nora from Finland, and I'm representing Konserttikeskus, which is the concert center Finland. So we organize 1,200 to 1,500 concerts for kids every year. And this spring we had to cancel or move around 300 concerts. There was 55 musicians working for those concerts, and we were planning to meet 45,000 kids with those. Yeah. All of that we had to cancel or reschedule for the autumn. And so we also lost 100,000 euros in income because of this. So at first it seemed like we have a real problem there, but we changed it to a positive as much as we could. We organized live stream concerts for kids, and we did it sort of differently than we normally tour. We normally tour in schools. Now we spread the concerts for the families also, because in Finland people were homeschooled at that time, and also daycare was closed. So lots of families were struggling with the fact that they have the kids there and they should work, and what's happening with the kids, and teachers couldn't see the kids. And so we organized lots of free live stream concerts. So we missed the income, and for that we made a campaign to get some more money for the musicians who lost their jobs and took some risks with the money, but gained 158,000 views for the concerts, which is much more than the live audience would have been for this spring. And we learned a lot during this.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's the same here in Brazil. Actually, I'm the CEO of an organization, a music teaching organization in Brazil. We have something around 50,000 students every year. We are in 270 cities. And all of a sudden we had to like improvise to keep teaching them. And here we also have this issue that not all of the kids have access to internet, of course, and the devices and computers and so on. So we recorded classes, short activities, like 20 minutes activities, and we sent through WhatsApp recorded activities that they could like do the exercises and then send videos back to the teachers. And it's been really, really challenging. We're expecting to go back to the normal situation with the presential classes in August, but who knows? So yes, I'm especially interested to know about the concerts, how you managed to do it online, and what were the results. Nice. So I guess that we could start like with a broad question about the impact of COVID-19, coronavirus, on the way that you and your artists make music. Like I said before, the whole thing about making music is the communication between the audience and the artists, and all of a sudden we can still communicate, but in a different setting. So what are your inputs about that? I mean, this new situation, how does it affect the way of making music? You can speak freely. I don't think we should have an order.
I would say that it's changing constantly, you know, that we don't really know the overall effect this is going to have on us and what it's going to look like at the end of the year. What we do know right now is that, you know, mass gatherings aren't possible. So with that in mind, everyone's going to live streams. And we're seeing so many different dynamics even among those live streams in terms of, you know, the audience bases and the people who may have been watching them 3 months ago and what they're watching now, and the opportunities of what to watch, you know, versus concerts people might pay for normally. And if they're going to pay for a virtual festival, and people who might sort of get overdosed on watching so many live streams, right? Because the opportunities now are so massive and there's so many things to see every single day. And it's been devastating, obviously, for the performing artists, those who tour. We certainly have a band that was booked all summer and all of those gigs were canceled. But we also work with artists around the globe every day, and it's the same situation everywhere. There are countries that are reopening and are able to because they have much better numbers than we do in the United States. And those are slowly getting back to some sense of normalcy. But what we found through our schools is, you know, we shut everything down in March. And slowly certain areas are able to now reopen and get back to a normal schedule with the kids, with, you know, proper safety measures in place. But it's really going to be a region by region thing until we have a broader solution. And that's, so I would say there's just no real answer in terms of what it's going to look like in the next few months. We just kind of have to wait and see.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I think
when you have like a live streaming, it's crazy because the artists are playing like in front of a computer, and this energy that comes back and forth when you were playing live, many lives that I watch, like they talk about it, the weirdness of playing in front of a computer and imagining the people that are, you know, millions of people that are watching that. So
I think this Corona pandemic is going to revolutionize the live stream on technical terms completely. Like if I watch what we have now, like 4 little screens, you know, and then the audio is every different. I think some smart people are going to program as much as they can to enlarge or to make this live experience even better, even flaws with bigger screens, higher resolution, whatever. But for me, I think it's so funny to see how all the individuals, not looking at organizations, are coping with these restrictions. And of course, when you're an organization, you have like hundreds of students or thousands of students, you kind of cannot break the law. But when you are an individual, you can model through, and this is something I found very interesting to see with the street musicians, because they were already acting in a kind of a narrow path that was half illegal, half legal, depending where they played. And now I see some street musicians doing their own live stream from their bedrooms, and others that just don't stay at home and go on the street and sing anyways, and for the 3 people that pass by and get arrested. And but what I really admire still of these street musicians that never had a stable financial income like many that are employed had, they still make music and they still create and they still share the music in one way or another with the people. And I think this is the lesson we can all learn, how every musician as an individual can think of a way, okay, what can I do now? Because all the big stages are closed, and I'm living in Berlin, and in Berlin, all these musicians that usually would play on the concerts that are asking me now, hey, let's do something on the street. And so in a way, I feel like, because the public space is more or less open already, you have to keep your distance and you cannot be more than 50 people or whatever. But this will be enough for a street musicians crowd. So I see more and more of the regular bands that never considered themselves street musicians are now going to the streets and sharing their art there where it happens. And I kind of think there is some beauty in that. And I'm curious where this is going.
Yeah, I was watching your promo video about the project. I know that you're maybe launching a documentary this year about the project. But in that short video, you were talking about the first artist that you decided to record, and it made me think about a paradox, because in some way the street artist can be almost invisible for many people. People just pass by and don't stop. And all of a sudden, when you record, and maybe you make a video, and maybe you make a book, and maybe online, you can also give them visibility that they didn't have before. So it's paradoxical for me, because they're there, they're people that can, but it's not sure that they will be seen. And
Yes,
with these platforms, maybe they can be seen.
Exactly, and then my people might think, oh, there needs to be a platform that shows these people. And I'm also thinking myself, I have to kind of make a platform for people to show all this music, but I cannot show to the world all the great street music that is there. Even if I would not, if I would not do anything else than recording street artists, I couldn't show it all together. And I think the solution to that is not a bigger platform with more employees making this platform as big as possible to show street music. I think it's everybody should go out and find these gems in the street and share it with the people.
Yeah.
And so don't make it centralized. Make it chaotic, and everybody for themselves. And also not all the people in the world cannot consume all the great street music there is. So what I feel is like people should go out where they are and make it nice there, and look for the beauty there. And I mean, I've been to cities like Ljubljana, like 200,000 people live there. It's not considered a big city regarding London or Berlin or New York, and still you find really great music there on the streets, just naturally happening. And even this is possible now in during the COVID time, because people do groceries and people can keep the distance, and you can stand somewhere. And I see all the musicians that are recorded or that I still see on Facebook, they always post videos where they play, even though concerts are not allowed. But just playing on the street is like you're just playing on the street. And when people want to drop something in your head, that's fine. And I think there in this thing, there's a rule. And what also is interesting, because street music was already before Corona was becoming more and more restricted. People deciding to make street music illegal. You cannot play with amplification and everything. And now, ever since the Corona, I realized how important street music is, because you can shut down the clubs, you can shut down the concerts because of this mass. But if you shut down the freedom of making music in public spaces, this is a big step. And so I think we should talk about like whether it should be allowed or not, or be let's careful about what to restrict when we restrict let's say artistic expression in public spaces, because in the way this is what humans do. Yes. And this is all what we seek. Absolutely. And that's why we go to live streams, and we have it also on the street.
Yeah, I think that brings us to our next question about new ideas that are emerging at this time. Can you share any innovative examples, new technologies, new ideas, new projects that artists are, coming up with to cope with the situation that maybe can remain after we go back to normal life?
Yeah, one of the really tricky things is in the technology, as mentioned earlier, in terms of connecting someone in one place to another place and playing live together, which has been really, really difficult because we can't get high enough internet speeds to pull them together. So all these concerts we're seeing online that have like multiple people playing in different boxes, those are generally pre-recorded and then stitched together, right? Because it's too hard to actually line it up in what you're hearing and what you're playing. But I know that there's people out there that are working really hard on developing technology where you can play together. And we actually just did a live stream a few weeks ago with Yo-Yo Ma, and he was playing in Massachusetts, and his piano player was in Italy, and they were playing at the same time. And it's because this guy in California had developed a way for them to hear each other way closer to real time than ever before. So I know that as we go farther along, we're going to have technology where we can actually have groups play together. But I would say the most important innovation right now is for groups to come together and unite on projects instead of trying to do them on our own. The most important thing I've seen to this point is, you know, in the arts, we tend to really hold on tightly to what we have, you know, our little group, our donors, whatever it might be. And we have so much more power if we combine our efforts with other organizations of a similar ilk who are willing to combine our audiences and reach a far greater group. And, you know, that's the great tool of social media, right? When we have a bigger group, it's not magnified by 2, it's magnified by 10. Because, and then on top of that, we're very lucky in that we have a lot of celebrity artists we work with, and their social media numbers are so extraordinary. And the more that any organization can focus less on an individual and more on their reach, the more successful we're going to be as organizations. So, you know, if someone has 60 million followers and they're going to put it out to their people, it's going to be a lot better than, you know, 6,000 people who have 500 followers, whatever it might be. You know, the bigger the reach with one individual celebrity artist can change the trajectory of an entire organization, and hopefully multiple organizations as we come together and combine our efforts. So I know that, you know, we're certainly working on an online music festival. We're partnering with the UN. I know that a lot of other organizations are as well, where they're coming together to create much bigger events that people are going to be a lot more interested in, a much larger viewership than they would have on their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Martin, you mentioned something before about artists asking you, how can I go and play on the streets? It makes me think a lot about, we have on JMI, we have lots of discussion about, especially about classical, new ways in classical music. Musicians that sometimes are trained to perform in a very, you know, particular setting, and under like perfect circumstances. And I think it's also a new thing that people start to, you know, to kind of broaden their perspectives about how can they do music.
I mean, I think the one-word answer to this question is pragmatism. And if I've learned something from the street musicians, it's being pragmatic in a very productive, beautiful, and effortless way. And by this, I mean, they don't think so far that they think, oh, I need to find an organization that gives me the knowledge to do something, to give me the technology to do something, to give me that, and then I can do something. No, they just look around their room, and they maybe have a ukulele, maybe a banjo, maybe whatever. Say, okay, you know what? I take this thing, I go out the street right here, and I play whatever I can. Maybe it's half a song, maybe I whistle, and that's how I start making street music. And they completely let go of this idea it has to be perfect. And when you do, this is what I again discovered, is when these people let go of this idea that it has to be perfect, then after a while, okay, you need to have craftsmanship, you need to be skillful in the instrument, but then with this freedom, you have the possibility to create something beautiful, like that is free of all pressure, and that can just grow and then can evolve there, and they don't have a schedule to follow when they play. They can see, oh, I think today is a good day, and then they go. And I really like this pragmatic approach of all these questions, because if you would keep up in in these kind of theoretical ideas. Okay, what can we do, and what organizations can build what tools that we can later use, we will never do something. We have to do something with the things we have here right now, and then go out to the people you already know and do something there. And if you can, record it, share it with your people. And from this movement, if many people do this, this creates the real dynamic, I think.
Yeah, maybe we can go back to essential things and let go the things that are probably not that necessary in order to make music and to connect with people. I don't know, right? The big hall, the perfect venue, the silence, the everything. I don't know. Maybe after all, we can I mean, have a.
For me personally, the most touching music experiences I had were in a room, not more with like five people, jamming together, you know, and having a wine and maybe some bread, and making music, and it's getting late. And this is the experience that I value for myself so much. And this is the experience of music, this intimacy of music that I try to share with people. And because the answer, I think, is not found in all these headlined heroes and these headlined events, headlined concerts or whatever. I think the real essence in enjoying music and connecting through music is to be actually there and be able to connect with the musicians, looking them in the eyes and vibing in a way with them. And this is what I want to encourage people that are listening to hear. Like, go out and find the musicians. There are so many musicians, and they are also bored at home. So they would be happy if there would be someone they can share the music with. And from this dynamic, there can grow something new. And we're afraid to do this because we haven't done this before. But I see this in Berlin happening. People, all the artists are being pushed inside, staying inside, and they're being so creative because that's their only outlet, making music. And for example, Berlin is electronic music hotspot. All the synth modules are sold out. You cannot buy them anymore in Berlin, you know, because everybody's making so much music. And this is what I want to tell people, like join in, make music with the people that also want to make music, and there's your connection. And then maybe when the live streams are all set up and nice, you can join them too, but you don't have to wait for that.
Yeah, we have to learn it maybe from the beginning, I don't know, for some people. But Nora, you mentioned something interesting about the families, and that's something that we are also in our program, we are sensing here, the house dynamics and this, you know, working with the kids inside the house and homeschooling and everything. And in our experience, we saw that it's very nice when the music comes into this house routine, when we send these activities to the kids and they do the activities with the family around. Sometimes the family takes part in it. So how was it with the concerts, with the online concerts? Did you feel like a bigger participation of the family in these concerts? How was it?
Yeah, that's been a very important part this spring, a new part for us, because we usually work in schools and we don't see the parents. In the kindergartens, we don't see the parents. The parents don't even know that the kids have this experience normally. So I think this has been like a very, very new thing for us, but also very important because we have had a new audience. And even though we've been doing these concerts and bringing live music and kids together since 1963, almost 60 years, the big crowd doesn't really know who we are. And this is part of branding also. But the most important thing is that now the kids have had an opportunity to share it with their families, the experience that they're having. And there's been several concerts where they have been dancing together. We've had like photos and all sorts of feedback from the families, how important these concerts have been. And although we have done live streaming, we also did, that you can see it later, and several families have told us that they've been like chosen one concert and make it their own sort of routine, that they're doing it every day or once a week or something, and they're really enjoying it. So I think that's something that we didn't really think beforehand, but what happened anyway. So I think the families have been very important in this spring experiences for the kids also.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like, all of you, do you feel like, do you have any hope that in the future people will start valuing more the importance of arts and culture in their lives? Because I think that in this context where we are all locked in our houses, we are, of course, in our routines, we tend to value more like books, films, music, and so on. Do you feel like when it opens, when we go back to probably not the same situation than before, but something similar, do you feel like that people will still value arts and culture that much, or maybe more? Do you feel like people will have the courage to enter like a movie theater or a concert hall again, safe, before we find the vaccine? Of course, when we have the vaccine, woo, it will be party.
Yeah, I think people want it more than ever right now. People are dying for experiences where they can be out and have a cultural experience of any kind. So if anything, I think we're going to see a big swell as soon as we're able to be out among audiences. And, you know, I want to shy away from saying anything is courageous or doable until then, because realistically it's not safe, right? So we just have to sort of wait right now, at least in the United States. Other countries, it is so much better. But for us, we just can't go out in big groups right now. It's not a possibility. Yeah. So everyone every day is just growing more and more, where they just want to be out and have those experiences, connect with people and connect artistically on any level. Even going to a movie theater would mean so much to so many people. So I think, yeah, we're going to see, I think people have discovered through this more than ever the importance of arts and music in their lives, and how much they're going to value it moving forward.
Yes.
I think they're going to rediscover what it means, because in a way they are forced inside. They cannot go to these concerts anymore, and if they go to a live stream, it's not the same as going on a festival and having these big PA systems and thousands of people and everybody is dressed nicely. You know, you don't have that, and you can't explore on these festivals. You can't you in your living room, you know everything around you, expect the thing that changes on the screen. So if you mean culture by museums and stadiums and these big events, I think people are also a bit scared of attending them, even though this is over. So I think these cultural events, they will, the big festivals, they will go down in the interest of people, but I think people will rediscover what it means to connect with what is nearby, that you can connect with. And I think this is also something very profound and important, because many musicians, they only look at the Instagram guitarists that are really insanely good, and then they have this huge competition in a way. It's like, I'm not good as he, I'm not good as I'm not as beautiful as this person or whatever. And if you would just shift your focus to what is directly surrounded by you. And I grew up in a small village, like when you're in a small village and you play 3 chords on a guitar, you easily one of the best guitarists in the village, because there's only 2 guitars in the village. Yeah. And this in a way gives you a good feeling, because you don't compare yourself with the whole world. You just in the community, and even the people that are there, they kind of enjoy it when you play a chord or 3 chord song on the guitar. And I think that we, in a large way, we will go back to these face-to-face, human-to-human interactions that are not institutionalized in a way. And I think we're gonna rediscover what lies hidden in these connections.
Yeah, I guess in the other hand, I think maybe people start valuing art more, and in the other hand, artists will start to value their audiences more. Because sometimes I feel like artists, they treat audience like a bunch of people that are there, you know. And I think after all this, maybe artists have to rethink their whole way to
Absolutely.
connect with this audience, because I think many artists lost the connection actually with those big, massive things, and you know. I don't
Definitely.
know. I'm not even a musician, so I can say no matter what. I can just.
Yeah,
And Nora, are you there?
Yeah.
Sorry. Jake, you're saying, Jake, you're going to say something?
Oh no, I just think that's exactly right. I think that this has also been a wake-up call for artistic organizations that often tend to be a little bit behind the times technologically, and jumping on new ways to reach people. And I think this has forced a lot of organizations that have been around for a very long time to rethink the way that they do things, and try to reach younger audiences, more mobile audiences. And new solutions are coming out of this where some organizations will certainly have to go under, but others will thrive, those that can adapt. And when we're out of this, the growth opportunities will be unbelievable for a lot of arts organizations.
I hope so. Yeah. You were talking, Nora, about the funding restrictions, and it also affects the artists, of course. We all had cuts, the organizations, those who work with organizations. And yeah, I think Jake is right. We'll have to find new ways instead of just waiting for the money to come from the fundings. And
I'm just trying to balance the street musicians' perspective a little bit, because for my own projects, I also tried to apply for fundings, and I also succeeded here and there. But for when I look at all the street musicians, they don't even bother thinking of applying for any fund, because there's no such fund giving them even a single euro. So in a way, it's also maybe not the. It's if we look at artists in a holistic way, we have to include those that would never get funding anyways. So just thinking in terms of, oh, what can we do with funding? We are not going to make the whole experience of we're not going to improve artists' life, because we by the way of just making this through funding, then we only select those artists that even could be considered for funds. And there are many artists that don't want this, and they cannot do this because music is all they can do, and they don't want to write these applications, and they're still there making art and living as an artist. I mean, I've met a guitarist, and he's just a street musician and not a concert pianist or whatever, but he's always like shaping his nails that he can play the guitar, and he pays his brother to carry his amplifier to the street, because when he couldn't play the stuff he's playing, and he plays virtuosic stuff like any classical concert guitarist also would play. And I think if we want to improve the relationship, let's say, through audience and artist, we should not only look in what can we do for a specific organization and for specific funds for certain projects. We should think at least about a way to where all artists can benefit.
Yes, you're right. And also, yes, because I think this kind of artist depends strictly on this relationship between their music and the audience. And I've met some, I'm an actress originally, and I've met some people who were funded by, I don't know, grants, government grants, and so on, that weren't at all concerned about connecting with the audience because the money was already there. And they were concerned about research, doing my art, even if my art does not communicate. So yes, I mean, this will shift all the perspective. I have nothing against funding, let's be clear. Of course, I think
I also don't have against anything funding. It's just that if we really want to learn something from this, and if we really want to, if we really want to think, okay, what can we do with artists and audience on the other hand, we shouldn't limit ourselves to, okay, what in fundable projects, because this is not the solution. I think the solution is always pragmatic. It's always easy. It's always there. And
yes.
Yeah.
Nora, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Good. Yes, we can hear you. So
Great.
I think maybe we can go to some final thoughts, considerations, and about the future, about how can we connect more with these collaborations that Jake mentioned between, you know, across borders, between different organizations. I mean, maybe it's not that it became easier, but maybe it became more, how can I say, visible. We have more awareness now about how can we connect and work in collaboration. Do you have any final thoughts on that, or?
Yeah, but first I have to say about the connection with the audience, because if I think about the musicians that are going on tours in schools and kindergartens, they don't have stages there. They're bringing their own stuff. The hall of the school can be small, it can be big, it can be black or white, or it can be in a lousy shape, or the everything changes there. So I think they're a bit like street musicians, because they have to always win the audience, no matter what. They don't have like a secure stage that they can go behind when they're doing kids concerts. So I think that the connection there is already very important between the audience and the musicians. But what they will learn from this new live, I think, is that you can maybe spread the connection before and after the actual concert more, and you have ways to do it. And I think there's like Jake said about playing together from different countries. I've also been I don't know, planning to do that in the near future, so that we could have a tour where somebody is playing from Norway from their living room, and somebody is playing live in the school there in Lapland or in the countryside near Russia or something like that. And they could have these high quality concerts where there's improvisation and all sorts of stuff happening that you could not experience otherwise. And because of the climate change also, it might not be or the financial side or whatever makes it maybe sometimes impossible to bring the very best or very different international visitors to visit schools and see the kids. But I'm sure that it's not far from here that we can actually do it, that we can play from different countries the same song, and there's no delay. And I think when we get to that part, we can use these knowledges that we have from this spring and spread the word of live music to the kids everywhere, even more than we do at the moment.
I love that idea. I love that idea of having concerts, the kids in the school and the streaming from a different country, someone performing live inside the school and the artists together.
And they might also have live audiences in both countries at the same time.
Yeah, amazing. We should do it.
Yes, let's do it.
Talk about it. Yes. Amazing idea. And you guys?
Some closing words.
Yes.
I think for everyone listening to this and making music by themselves, use the time to make music and connect with other musicians that are nearby and make music together and explore what you can do in this time. And if you feel like this is nice, share with your friends, record it and share with the world, and yeah, make connections with musicians.
Martin, I hope to see you in your van here in South America. I'm talking
I
serious.
hope so.
You don't know,
I hope
you
so
don't
too.
know me, but ask around, ask JM people. When I say let's do something together, I really mean it. It would be amazing. I like this project.
Yeah, welcome to Finland also.
Yes,
I was in Finland. I was already there. I recorded 2 Finnish artists. But yes, as soon as I have the ability to do that again, I'm gonna do it, of course.
Nice. Jake?
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd really reiterate is the importance of using our networks right now, our families, our friends, our colleagues, whatever it is, to reach as far as we can and combine efforts and just come together through music and art right now. It's what everybody needs. And the more that we can do it, the better off we're going to be as we come out of this and move into the future.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. Yes, we are very optimistic, actually. So thank you very much, everybody. And thank you for those who are watching. And thank JM International. I think it was a great idea to make this pop-up festival with many interesting panels. And yeah, I hope that we can really everybody stay in touch and think about collaborations, not only talking about it, but actually trying to make it come true. It will be a big opportunity. Thank you, guys.
All
Thanks
right.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.